speak about the BRICS summit that was concluded last week in Russia. But first I would like to share with you that I've just read the big Zelensky interview to the Times of India, where he started by saying that the BRICS summit in Russia was a complete failure. I don't know what he meant and what reasons he had behind this statement. He didn't elaborate, but we will see and discuss and share with you today how the BRICS summit was a total success. And frankly, this particular subject is not the only one on which the Ukrainian president has become completely delusional. He has very delusional views on many other accounts, but this is one of the topics on which he is absolutely wrong. The title of the BRICS summit, as you know, was the Strengthening Multilateralism for Equitable Global Development and Security. It was the first BRICS summit in the expanded format, with leaders from 35 states and 6 international organizations, including the UN, in the capacity of the UN Secretary General, as well as Asian, African, Latin American countries who joined the BRICS Plus and Outreach formats. Throughout the year, Russia hosted around 200 events, foreign and other sectoral ministerial meetings, the parliamentary forum in which Honorable Lok Sabha Speaker Shri Om Birla participated, the NSA's dialogue with the participation of Shri Ajit Doval, various working groups, conferences and seminars, business forum, cultural and film festivals, as also the sports, games, fashion forum, business forum, fire drills. The evolving BRICS, as we have seen, is a dedicated platform for the global South, as a reflection of the current realities. It's not an exclusive, but an inclusive platform, not anti-West, but non-West, as many BRICS leaders outlined, the Russian president included. It has transformed into an indispensable framework for emerging centers of power, and it keeps attracting more and more countries as a response to the global turbulence and uncertainty. As you know, more than 40 countries have expressed interest in joining, and the majority of these countries attended the summit in Kazan. Within BRICS, we respect and outline the sovereign equality, the diversity, the respect to mutual interest, and work for mutual benefit. It offers a diversified, inclusive, and consensus-based cooperation with more than 80 sectoral tracks structured into the three baskets, as you know. Policy and security, economy and finance, and humanitarian and cultural ties. We maintain that the platform is free from domination. We reject unilateral sanctions. We reject double standards and interference in domestic affairs. BRICS is designed for member states to gain from a combined potential and to channel common efforts towards a more democratized global governance and sustainable development through uninterrupted cooperation based on legitimate national interests and the central role of the United Nations. For these purposes, the vital priority is to promote just and equal multipolarity. One of the major outcomes of the summit is that we have created a new category of partner states, which will be individually invited to join the forum. In this capacity, the list of these countries will be announced after they accept the invitations that were endorsed by, at the summit. It was very important to satisfy the growing interest towards BRICS. This step will definitely multiply the value of our diversified partnership and add to the forum's global influence, which is now making a decisive contribution to the global food and energy security. To ensure seamless cooperation, it was decided, amongst other things, to work out an investment platform through strengthening the new development bank. The bank has already approved around 100 infrastructure projects worth 35 billion USD as the key institution for sustainable development of its shareholders. We consider the BRICS cross-border payments initiative to facilitate interaction between central banks and the use of local currencies to strengthen financial sovereignty and independence. We have studied the feasibility of an electronic platform to settle cross-border trade in securities, the so-called BRICS Clear, and a BRICS reinsurance company. We have an upgraded contingent currency arrangement, which serves as a crucial tool to safeguard the member countries from short-term current account deficits. We implemented the Russian initiatives to create a grain trade platform within BRICS, the BRICS Grain Exchange, as well as set up the Nuclear Medicine Working Group, the Academic Ocean and Polar Science Forum. We also shared the best practices through a newly created forum on special economic zones. We agreed to deepen cooperation within the Economic Strategy Partnership, Startup Forum, Partnership for the New Industrial Revolution, and the UNIDO Industrial Competition Center, BRICS Future Networks Institute, Energy Research Cooperation Platform, Clean Rivers Initiative, Anti-Epidemiological Early Warning System, Tuberculosis Research Network, BRICS Medical Association, and many other such tracks. We also deepened dialogue on resilient supply chains, e-commerce, stability and security of national internet segments, artificial intelligence regulation, energy transition, technological standardization, customs, tourism, emergency preparedness, labor markets, MSMEs and business incubators, vocational training, women empowerment, etc. I hope you have read the joint declaration, which is absolutely comprehensive, counting around 130 or something paras. We also considered establishing climate and geological research, as well as transport cooperation platforms, a mechanism of authorized economic operators, international arbitration centers, the cinema schools alliance, mutual recognition of diplomas in digital education, and other things. As like-minded countries, we will keep closely coordinating on various international issues at the UN, G20, and WTO, and on their agendas to create better conditions for the global south to get an equal access to technological, financial, and natural resources, and to remove development gaps and achieve sustainable development goals. Consecutive presidencies of BRICS members, India, Brazil, and South Africa in G20 is a crucial precondition to this end, given that BRICS is focused to find just solutions and support the needs and aspirations of the developing countries. And so the summit in Kazan signaled that the new constructive agenda is shaping up. Russia is committed to strengthening BRICS further with the focus on practical cooperation and international coordination. With this brief introduction, I would like to offer to continue with the question and answers session, and your questions are most welcome. I'll be happy to answer.
Please. President, you see Mr. Evgeny Pakhomov, please.
I'm Evgeny Pakhomov, Russian News Agency. So in light of the current political climate, how does the BRICS framework plan to strengthen its collective voice on global governance and international security issues? Thank you.
The BRICS, as a platform, offers to the member countries and to all those who want to get engaged, get involved into the dialogue on various topical issues of the current times, is designed to discuss and to elaborate and to work out various solutions to global crises, to regional crises. If you study the Kazan Declaration closely, you will see that we are dealing with and are discussing almost all issues of the international agenda. And we try to speak in common voice. We try to enhance the voice of the developing countries. Take the International Monetary Fund, for example, or the WTO, or various other international financial or business platforms and institutions. In each of these, the Western world, the developing world, is still dominating and influencing the agenda of these organizations and platforms. BRICS is about the enhancing of the voice and of the say of the developing world. That's why we have also focused on these items, the financial issues, the economic issues. We do not aim to substitute these organizations. We are not talking about creating alternatives to various established international organizations and platforms, but we aim to reform them and try to impress upon the world that there is a demand and a requirement for the world to listen and to have the developing world as a equal and a stronger voice on various international issues. For example, we discussed the strengthening of the international monetary fund-based financial system through the quota expansion. We discussed the promotion of the central role of the G20 in the multilateral financial and economic cooperation. We expressed the desire to empower the WTO with special treatment for developing countries, establishing national conditions-based climate change targets. On various global security issues, we appealed to approach the conflicts through addressing the root causes of the current conflicts, be it in Ukraine or Middle East. Called for the respect of interests of all nations and the genuine implementation of the UN Security Council decisions. Not only Ukraine was discussed, not only Middle East, the situation in Afghanistan was also discussed, and the security situation in various parts of Africa was also one of the topics for the discussion. So basically, responding to the question, we gather and discuss in the BRICS format the approaches and the solutions to various topical issues, be it in security, be it the security situation in various parts of the world, or the reform of financial and economic institutions that there are on a global scale.
British, please.
Good afternoon, Ambassador. I'm Ashok from Z News. I have a quick two questions. One is, there is unconfirmed news that India and China bilateral has done because of Mr. Putin. What is the reality between it? And did the BRICS currency has launched or it is a souvenir just? Can you explain please?
The BRICS what?
BRICS currency.
BRICS currency.
Yeah.
We have welcomed and are happy that the first meeting between the leaders of China and India took place in Kazan after the gap of 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. We believe this is a very positive development in the bilateral relations between India and China. The border issue, as far as I understand, was discussed. The bilateral cooperation and the matters pertaining to bilateral relations were discussed. We, again, as far as I know, have not played any role in organizing that meeting, but we have been very happy that it took place in Kazan. For us, as I represent Russia, has always been important and desirable that India and China maintain a stable and good relations between themselves, maintain a dialogue between themselves. That would only be favorable and indispensable for the security situation in the Eurasian space and for the world at large. I think Prime Minister Modi went on record by saying, and we have also expressed the similar views. The prosperity and the progress on the Eurasian continent. I'm speaking about the Eurasian continent because it's not only about Europe, it's not only about Russia, not only India or China separately. We all live on one big continent, the biggest one in the world, and the prosperity and the progress on this continent that would definitely have a global dimension can only be possible with good relationships between India and China in the first place. And we add Russia, as we are the largest country on the continent. But India and Russia, India and China are currently the main drivers on the continent, economic drivers, holistic drivers on the continent, and globally. And the good relationship between them is indispensable for the progress for the world at large and for the Eurasian continent in particular. We have always stood for better trust between the two countries. We have always endorsed the trust between the two countries. We have never participated or by advice or in any other way in bilateral negotiations between India and China, have never interfered in the contentious issues between India and China, and of course the border issue is one of them, probably the main problem in relations between India and China. But we have always stood and openly spoke about the necessity and the need for a better relations, for the close relationship between the two majors on this continent. And by saying this, and on the basis of this, we wholeheartedly welcomed the meeting that took place, and we hope that the improvement on the border, as we see, and such high-level interactions like the one that took place in Kazan would facilitate and open new ways to a closer dialogue, to a trusted dialogue between the two countries, and to eventually the resolution of the contentious issues. If not a complete resolution, but at least it would be a way forward, and it would only be beneficial to all the countries on the Eurasian continent, big or small, and to the would be beneficial to the security situation, to the beneficial to the common voice of the globe towards various issues that need to be resolved, not only in security, but also in economic domain, in financial domain, on a global scale. For that, the partnership between India and China is indispensable in our view. That would create the conditions for the holistic resolution of various issues that would facilitate the unity between the countries on a global scale, not a diversity, not contradictions and not controversies, but that would be a way forward to finding common approaches with all the countries involved to various issues. For that, in our belief, it is necessary that India and China speak in one voice towards the resolution of various issues I'm speaking about, not only the security, but many other issues.
Mr. Kumar.
This side from News Agency. I have two questions. The first question is, with the growing strategic competition between the West and the BRICS nations, how does Asia perceive the role of BRICS in shaping a new world order? Is BRICS becoming a counterweight to Western-led institutions like the G7? And my second question is,
Given Russia's position as a key global energy supplier, how does Russia plan to leverage BRICS to enhance energy security and trade, especially with countries like India?
Energy supplier. We do not view ourselves as a competition platform against G7 or any other platform. It's not about competition. It's not about rivalry with someone. Although you certainly know that if compared with G7, BRICS represents over 30% of the world land area, 45% of the population, 40% of oil production globally, and up to 25% of exports. So, judging by the statistics, it can well be considered a much stronger, group of nations than the G7. But again, we do not compete with G7 or with any other groups. Within BRICS, we believe that the competition must be healthy and equal and just in the first place. And here we promote the interests of the developing countries in the first place, of the emerging markets, the emerging centers of power. We endorse the stable growth rates, industrial innovations, and human research potential. Developing countries face reluctance to reform global governance institutions. This is also a fact. And this is also something that we have discussed and speak within BRICS about the reform of global governance institutions. Most undesired, which are pursuing their sovereign and independent foreign policies, are subjected to interference, unilateral sanctions. Those issues were also discussed. Very illustrious was that right ahead of the BRICS summit, the US made new decisions with regard to unilateral sanctions against Russia. Today it may be Russia, tomorrow it would be China, the day after tomorrow it may well be India. So these issues were also discussed. I stress once again that unlike other instances which we see, and unlike the ways how the Western-dominated institutions behave, BRICS is not targeted against anyone. And I reiterate that we don't want to replace the existing system. We only wanted to make it more efficient and more adequate and equitable. On energy front, we we have this is one of the major topics that is being discussed within BRICS. There is the energy platform that we have. We focus on the smooth transition of the developing world towards a greener energy solutions. The energy dialogue that we have within BRICS also includes the energy research cooperation platform, which is focused on the issues of sustainable, equitable, affordable, and inclusive energy transition. In September, in Moscow, there was the Russian International Energy Week, in which India participated. Within BRICS, we held the energy ministerial meeting on the sidelines of that International Energy Week. We have also held the BRICS Youth Energy Summit this year. Currently, we implement the BRICS Energy Cooperation Roadmap by 2025 that is aimed at coordination of policies, promotion of energy trade, investments and research, as well as technological cooperation in this sector. All countries actively participated in the discussion of the energy issues. There are many specific topics within the energy dialogue. Not only the green transition per se, but also the more specific aspects like the digitalization, like the training of personnel, institutional development, students and academic exchanges, the geological platform that we proposed. It's also inherently connected with the energy dialogue, not only focusing on the critical minerals, sector-wise discussion. We speak about sector-wise areas is on the coal and natural gas and LNG, renewable energy, biofuels, smart grids. So there is a very extensive and very practical agenda that is being that has been set by the countries and is being discussed. Please.
Excellency, this is Divya from Indian Express. In the wake of Prime Minister Modi's two big visits to Russia in the recent months, what do you think about the future of India-Russia relations, especially with the Western countries, some of the Western countries objecting to them in terms last time?
We were very optimistic about our bilateral relations. This year has been particularly productive. You know, we have had the practice of annual exchange of summits since 2000, for 24 years already. Last year, the summit didn't happen for some reasons, but we held the bilateral summit this year. We are looking forward to a bilateral summit next year. This year, the Prime Minister visited Russia in July, and I can share with you that it was a huge success, and we managed to discuss all the aspects, not only the pressing issues of the current cooperation, but all other aspects of bilateral relationship. Of course, we discussed Ukraine and Middle East and various topics of global concern, but bilaterally we are doing very well. The trade has grown exponentially, manifold, and it's not only the Russian exports of oil to India, but also the substantial increase of Indian exports to Russia. We focus on the economic cooperation between us. We spoke about the expediting the free trade agreement between between India and the Eurasian Economic Union, of which we are part of. This would be a substantial and a serious step forward, facilitating the increase in bilateral trade in a larger way. We also discussed the authorized economic operator agreement. We spoke about the broader financial and high-tech, fintech, and banking cooperation. We discussed such promising area of mutual cooperation like the Arctic, the Northern Sea route, and the logistical routes between India and Russia. India is expressing huge interest in mutual projects in the Russian Far East. That would be a step closer to a more substantial and bigger engagement of India in the Arctic. And I'm not talking about the scientific research. I'm speaking about the economic cooperation and the Indian investments in the Arctic regions. I mentioned the logistic routes. We discussed the Vladivostok-Chennai maritime route in the first place, and also the international north-south transport corridor. As you know, Russia has been a major player in the Indian nuclear energy market. We have been constructing the nuclear power plant in the south, in Kudankulam. It is going very well. Two blocks are at full capacity, working at full capacity. The second stage, two more blocks are about to be inducted. and connected with the national grid, power grid. And there's also a third stage, 2 more reactors under construction currently. So all in all, we are constructing six reactors at Kudankulam. And we have a plan, a strategic plan to continue with this very beneficial cooperation, to continue and to expand the cooperation in the nuclear energy sector, not only for the energy purposes per se, but also for towards the use of non-energy nuclear application, like the nuclear medicine and various other technologies based on nuclear power. So bilaterally we are doing very well. There are, of course, impediments, but we are coping with those obstacles quite successfully. We have the bilateral mechanism in place for the use of national currencies. The ways and the mechanisms about which I'm talking about is in place. Those Indian banks who are willing to utilize it, to participate in it, are participating, are involved in the bilateral financial network, and there are no impediments as regards the national currencies if those players who if those banks and the players in that financial dialogue and financial cooperation are genuinely wishing to utilize the existing mechanisms. Don't forget about BRICS, of course, and the defense cooperation. It has not gone anywhere. It's progressing. The BRAHMOS project, the AK assault rifles, the joint venture that was established. The factory is already working in Uttar Pradesh. These are the examples of the practical contribution of Russia in the Make in India program, and the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. I don't even mention the T-90 main battle tanks that have been manufactured under license in Tamil Nadu for so many years. Su-30s, an example, the same thing. We have huge plans for the future. You may read the joint statement on the outcomes of the July summit. It's also huge, just like the BRICS declaration, and we try to list and to outline the main directions on which we work and the plans that we nurture for the future. By the end of this year, we are going to have some more important bilateral events and more high-level visits of Russian officials to India are in the pipeline. I can share with you that in November, early November, we will hold the next session of our Intergovernmental Commission on Economic Matters, on trade and economic cooperation. We are working towards the early session of our Intergovernmental Commission on Defense relationship. We are engaged in the interparliamentary dialogue between us. We have the Interparliamentary Commission between Russia and India, and hopefully it will also have its next meeting soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Shuligan from Bloomberg. So, Ambassador, if you could give us an understanding on the India-Russia payments, and is India-Russia again thinking about a rupee-ruble exchange mechanism to increase trade between the two countries?
You know, I'm not a big specialist in finances. But I'll answer your question in simple words, if you allow. As I understand, we don't have a problem with exchange rate. Somehow there is no direct exchange rate between rupee and ruble. That is true. But somehow we manage through the stock exchanges, through the currency exchanges, through various other mechanisms, cross-currency mechanisms, to smoothly establish the exchange rate between the rupee and the ruble. The problem is not with the exchange rate. The biggest problem, as I see it, is the I have spoken about it on other occasions already. The over-cautiousness of the Indian banks towards engagement with Russia. We understand the reasons. The main reason being you know, the desire not to do anything anything detrimental to the capacities of the banks, who also have accounts in USD, and the United States have been very meticulous in tracking the transactions between the Indian players and Russian counterparts, between Indian institutions, financial institutions, banks, and the Russian counterparts, threatening immediately with secondary sanctions. We see the way of thinking and the line of approach. But here we come again to the question of, to the question of domination of some countries in global financial issues. Why should India be required to work only with those who the U.S. thinks it can cooperate? Today they maintain that it is necessary for India to sever the relationship with Russia. Tomorrow the U.S. would say that it is necessary for India to curb its relationship with Bangladesh, for example. And what would India and the Indian banks would do in that situation? Say that, yeah, okay, we don't want to have problems with the U.S. We better comply and curb our relations with this country and then with that country. And there may be an endless list of these countries on which the U.S. decides. I'm trying to say that it is necessary for India, it is necessary for Russia, it is necessary for China or for South Africa or Brazil, for other members of the BRICS and for the vast majority of the world to have an equal say and an equal voice on various issues pertaining to global economic cooperation, global financial cooperation. India's voice should be taken into account, as the U.S. voice should be taken into account, as Russia's voice should be taken into account on an equal footing. I believe India, as the rest of the world, the rest of the countries, have all the capacities and the right for being heard when we speak about the global cooperation, when we speak about various crises which require a solution, peaceful solution, if not military. At the moment, some, and I'm speaking about the U.S. in the first place, try to retain the position which the U.S. and its allies have occupied for so much time and so many years. The say on the decisive say on various global problems and issues, as if they have the correct recipe of solutions. That's what the BRICS is about ultimately, about the increase of the of the voice of the global south or the developing world in international affairs. This is what we're talking about. Regarding to the transactions between the financial transactions between various countries. We are hopeful that the understanding amongst the Indian banking community would grow, that it is safe and it is correct and it is just to work with various countries without fearing the coercive measures from the US, for they are illegitimate in the first place. As you all know, India does not support unilateral sanctions and various coercive measures. It only supports the sanctions endorsed by the United Nations. And this should stay as such. Thanks.
Good afternoon, I'm Rajneesh from TV9 News Channel, TV9 Bharat.
Go ahead.
My question is, how does Russia view the relationship between...
Where are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How does Russia view the relationship between India and China, especially after recent meetings with the leaders of both countries? Why is this relationship important to Russia, and what role does it play in regional and global dynamics?
I've spoken already. We wholeheartedly stand for the improvement of the relations between India and China, and the recent developments, I believe, are indicative of this movement and of this process. Frankly, it was very good news when we learned about the progress in the bilateral dialogue on border issues. The leaders who met in Kazan endorsed further steps towards the border resolution. We understand this. This is a very complicated issue. It would most certainly be a difficult and a lengthy process of negotiations. But let me remind you that we and the Chinese have also had our own border issues in the past. For more than 40 years, if I'm not mistaken, but we managed to arrive to a mutually acceptable solution, and ultimately to the resolution of the border issues that we had between Russia and China. I don't have any doubts that India and China would eventually be successful on the border problems between them. But it would require determination. It would require, open-hearted approach. It would require trust is probably the main prerequisite for the amicable resolution. But again, I'm sure that this would be achieved as we have succeeded with the Chinese, or the Chinese have succeeded with us.
And the last question for the day by the Financial Express newspaper.
Sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Uma Siddiqui and I'm from the Financial Express. You have talked about the energy cooperation between the BRICS members. So just taking it forward, the new how will the energy security be impacted by adding the new members, which also include Iran and UAE, and the members who want to join, like Saudi Arabia? Is it going to help? Is it? Have you thought about it?
Of course, we thought about it, and we believe that it would increase the cooperation on energy issues within BRICS, and would increase the energy security. It's always better to speak openly and frankly with each other on important issues, but it's not that we have not so far spoken with the Saudis or Iran on energy security. We've been in very close touch with all the major energy producers. Russia is one of them. There are a group of countries like OPEC, non-OPEC energy producers, which maintain very close coordination between them. I believe that the energy security will only gain from closer engagement between the major energy producers and consumers. Within BRICS or outside BRICS, it would be beneficial in both ways. Since we speak about the BRICS, we are happy that Iran has shown great interest in getting engaged, and we have invited Saudi Arabia to join the BRICS last year. It has yet to decide on this invitation, but BRICS is very much open towards the engagement with Saudi Arabia with them. I believe such a participation of these countries and generally a dialogue with Saudi Arabia and Iran's energy security and on energy cooperation at large would only be beneficial, would only benefit the energy security situation on a global scale.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to participate on the conference. If you have some questions, let me transfer it to me. And would like to invite your
As Ambassador of Ethiopia, I believe you would like to share your impressions also.
Thank you, dear Ambassador. I'm new to India, but I'm not new to the bilateral relations between Ethiopia and India and the Ethiopia and Russia. Last meeting in South Africa, Ethiopia joined the BRICS, and in Kazan last week, we took part at the level of the leadership in the summit. And it is timely that you are giving us this briefing. It's also incumbent upon us, other members, to add our voices to the good work we are doing within the BRICS. And Ethiopia is extremely happy to have joined the BRICS, not because of any political consideration, not because of any alliances that we want to form in against existing mechanisms. We are fully in line with what you have said, that we are not going to invent anything new, but to have choices in our international relations, which is basically economy and business, including energy and whatnot. And there are very few countries in the world that are happy probably with the current international system. Current international system of everything is in paralysis. It does not reflect the world we are living in now. So it is natural that countries that go together, that fly together, that have alignment of interests, are bringing their interests on the table and forming the BRICS and expanding. And it's not easy. This shows partner countries and the members, we have got a choice. We have got the freedom, including the many instances of Zelensky you have raised on bilateral relations, whether it is Russia, India, or India, China, or Ethiopia, Egypt, or Brazil to UAE, or Iran with Saudi Arabia. And basically the consideration of Ethiopia is it is economic interest for joining the BRICS. But economic interest, they need political and security environment, which we have been able to address in Kazan together. The issues in the Middle East, and the issues in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and many others, including the Security Council, the reform program. We went to Kazan with two agendas of Ethiopia. One is the Security Council reform, which is underway. We have African consensus, which we work with the BRICS to uphold that consensus. And secondly, the Bank of BRICS to expedite its membership and the benefits that we have to get it as soon as possible, as much as possible. So this is the context, and this is the direction we are taking part within the BRICS. So we thank the government of the Russian Federation, particularly President Putin, who successfully organized that summit, the declaration of which we have seen. It is an outcome of negotiation of equal partners, friendship, brotherhood, and that is the spirit we want to go on. But people have to ask, why people, countries, nations are flocking to BRICS? It is because of the disjointment of the current system, international system, that we want to add our voice in the entire effort of the global community on how to reform it, how to make it more responsive, how to make it better democratic, to reflect our current world. That's what we are doing. And I further add my voice that such briefings are very good, but also at our ambassadors level, the members of BRICS and the partners, we need to sit together on what to do, whether they are in Washington or New Delhi or Addis Ababa or Russia. We need to come together and explain ourselves more and coordinate our positions more, so that we will be clear to the rest of the world and to ourselves that our cooperation is aiming at nobody else. It is based on the interests of its members. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you, Excellency. The best summary you have made that they can be. I fully agree with you. Support your assessment. That is what we are talking about the BRICS in the first place. It's a voluntary, non-discriminatory, equal, consensus-based discussion platform. And the interest that has so greatly increased amongst various countries for BRICS is the testament and the indication of the attractiveness of this kind of platform for discussion and for ultimately finding the solutions to various issues and various various domains of our life and activities. I believe that we are looking forward to a very productive presidentship of Brazil next year, starting the 1st of January. We have the calendar presidency in the BRICS. We will continue with some more events until the end of this year, and we wish the Brazil chairmanship next year every success, and are absolutely convinced that it will build the agenda upon the achievements of our current presidentship, upon the outcomes of the Kazan summit that we had last week, as on the outcomes of the previous summits and the previous South African presidency in the BRICS. I would like to thank you all for coming. I hope I answered all the questions you had, and of course I would like to wish all Indians and all foreigners involved happy coming Diwali. Thank you very much.